All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is John Hernandez. I am a consultant here at Cashfly. I've been part of Paul's Alex's team for nearly 5 years, helping people learn on how to create additional streams of income. Today, you are watching Residual Income for Beginners, where we share real stories and experiences and strategies for building residual income. Now, today we have a special guest. We're doing something a little bit different. We actually have Brad Johnson here, who is a life coach and mentor to a few of us, to a lot of us actually. So, Brad, pleasure having you here on our school live today. How are you doing today?
John, I'm delighted to be here. Always an honor. Cash Swipe's my family. Everybody's on the call. We're now related. We're friends, and I'm grateful to be here and praying that God uses me to serve this community in a powerful way this evening.
Love it, love it. So let's jump right into it. So Brad, let's go down. Let's tell people what you do. Break it down to them. For someone that's just jumping on, they're meeting you. Like, tell them what you do.
Well, I'm absolutely a person of faith. I've been a pastor for over 40 years. So that's a part of my journey and a part of who I am. But what I realized many years ago is that God created our minds in such a way and the power of the mind in such a way to help us live above average, to help us live outside of the constraints that culture and family and limited thinking and old kind of mental traps would keep us in. And neuroscience over the last many years, John, has begun to discover things about our mind that God's always known. And so science is catching up to God. So what I do, I blend the power of the mind created by a powerful God to help people live powerful lives. I mean, that's as simply as I can express it, I think. If we begin to see the power we possess, we will begin to live differently. We'll achieve differently. We'll make a better contribution to the world, to our families, to ourselves. But we have to get these things together and begin to not just believe this way, but then our actions will come out of our beliefs.
No, 100%. The mind is a powerful tool, and you could do a lot of things with it. And breaking limited belief. I know a lot of people struggle with that, and sometimes we need someone else to help us and guide us through that process.
Yeah.
And that's where you come in, right?
It's exactly right. My car on my side mirrors has like a little red warning light that tells me if there's another car in my blind spot. If I didn't have those mirrors and that little warning light, it's a spot on the car that people just can't easily see. And so opportunities like this tonight and other times, the people on this call are with a coach. They're with you. They're with Paul. They're with Nadia. They're with other people. They have the opportunity for someone else to help them with their blind spots so that they can stay on track and make forward progress.
Love that. So really quick, where did the message "you had a good run, but you're not done yet"? Where did that come from?
Yeah, so I'm 66 years old, and I feel younger. I think younger. I have a lot of energy, but I'm 66 years old, and so there are things that began to occur in my body where I began to realize, okay, I'm gonna have to kind of deal with this. Didn't have to deal with it in my 30s. Didn't have to deal with it in my 40s. But here's the thing: there's an overlay in culture that says, if you haven't hit it early in your life, you're not going to hit it. Or it'll say this: even if you've been successful in your life, there's going to come a time when you're just going to have to tail off. You're going to have to begin to limit. You're going to have to begin to diminish. Stop thinking about expanding your life. And nothing, John, could be further from the truth. The rest of your life can be the best of your life. You could have had a great run. You could have built companies. You could have had enormous income. You could have made great contribution, built a legacy for your family, something you'll be remembered for. All that's great and good. But here's the thing: we don't stop. We have a mandate for greatness. We've been created for greatness. Be a great father, be a great husband, be a great grandfather 7 times over, right? Be a great leader in business, be a great contributor to the lives of other people. We've been made to be great. But over time, once people have a good run, They think, okay, that's it. I just had one in me. No, 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 no. Here's what I want people to think about on this call. No matter how they could be 20 on this call. I don't know how old people are. They could be 50 on this call. I don't know. What I know is wherever you are in life, I want you to begin to believe that your greatest contribution for God and others in this world, in business, in financial legacy, whatever it is still ahead of you, no matter how good it's already been.
No, I love that. And like you said, when you go through, like you accomplish things in your life, and you feel like you said, you had a good run, but you have a lot more in you. And it's sometimes it's just getting comfortable. You're just like, okay, I already have this, I achieved this, and just to make it a little bit more personal, like for me, like I thought I had things going for me because my background is I came from retail and T-Mobile. I was there for about 10 years total. I was, I moved up the chain. I was 3 years moving up the chain. I was a sales consultant, a lead. Then I became an assistant manager by my third year. Then I moved up the chain to become a store manager. And, life was good. Life was good. I bought my first house, got married, but honestly thought I was just gonna be there the rest of my life. And I was just like, hey, like I feel like I hit every check mark. Like move
American
up the
dream,
chain,
man. Yeah, yeah.
marriage, bought a house, but I wanted more. And
Right.
sometimes you just get stuck. And I was and honestly, I was stuck for a few years. So you're 100% right. We do have more in us now. Taking that leap of faith and coming on this industry has completely changed my life.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, comfort works against growth. Now, it's okay to have moments of comfort. You go on a vacation, get a little comfortable, have a little season, you take a breath. There's a 7-day rhythm that's taught in Christian scriptures where, every 7th day you take a day off. Like there's a rhythm of comfort, but there's never a model of staying in comfort. Because here's the truth about it. Comfort doesn't stay static. We're either growing or we're declining. So we roll to a stop. Let's just say your car rolls to a stop and you park it and you leave it there for 6, 8, 10 months. The engine's going to get wonky. The tires are going to get wonky. The brakes are going to get wonky. Like cars don't do well parked long term. Boats don't do well parked long term. I've got a friend, he's trying to sell his airplane. And he has to go out to the airport on a very regular maintenance schedule, get the engine revved up to takeoff speed and hold it there and get the oil and the temperature and all that and hold it there for a period of time because planes don't do well on the ground. Like ships weren't built to stay in the harbor, man. They're built to be on the open ocean. And so if people think, oh, I'm just going to golf now, for the rest of my life, I've kind of achieved it, or I'm just going to sit back now and I'm just going to work 3 days a week instead of 7 days a week or 6 days a week. Well, here's what'll happen. You won't stay at that place. It'll be comfortable for a short period of time, about this much. And then you'll begin to decline. Here's what happens with decline. Self-doubt. Our confidence is one of the first things that slips. Like, oh man, I don't know if I can get it back. Had my mojo going, I was in a flow. We call it flow state in neuroscience. I was in flow and I don't know if I can get it back. And now you've not just got to fight inertia that's pulling you back. It's like mental gravity pulling you down. You have to rebuild something in your internal fortitude to get back to even. So yeah, I'm glad when you got to that comfort, you broke through it, because growth is on the other side of that every time, every time, every time.
So just curious, like why do you think people like end up getting comfortable and just staying there? Like what's happening? Like, because for me, I was just there and I was just like, do I want to move up? Do I not? Like I was going back and forth. It became from 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, and I was a manager for 7 years. So what do you think is happening? Like, why do you think I just stuck for still 7 years?
Yeah, it happens to a lot of people. And what's really happening is it starts at the unconscious or subconscious level in our minds, John. We live into what we believe we're capable of. So you very likely hit a level where it's like, man, I never even thought I'd be here. And look at me now. I got my house. I'm living the dream, and I love my job. I moved up really quickly. 3 years, man. I'm managing my own store. Your thermostat, your financial thermostat, or your success thermostat was set at a level probably installed in early childhood, that this is what people like me achieve. This is what my family becomes. This is what was the plan for my life. And we subconsciously accept that. So let's just say you begin to break through that. Now our bodies, our nervous systems are wired for familiar. They're wired to hold us safe, and what is safe is familiar. So we start to make a little more than we ever had before, or we've gone farther than we ever thought we'd go. You've heard the term imposter syndrome. You've heard the term self-sabotage. People begin to do these behavioral patterns where they undo the good that is actually what helped them grow and become, and they begin to settle back down into their thermostat level. It's like the thermostat that's on the wall straight across from me in this room, where it's set at 73 degrees right now. And so if it gets to 74, boom, it's going to kick on, bring it to 73. If it gets to 72, boom, it's going to come on, go right back to 73. And that's what happens in our financial world, our success world, our relationship world. Wow, this marriage is really doing great, or this dating relationship is really, really doing great. Or, man, that dude's my best friend. I've never had a friend like that. And all of a sudden, we're uncomfortable because it's new. We're outside of what we thought would be. And we're taught it as kids, John. So it's like your parents telling you over and over again, put that back, we can't afford it. Put that back on the shelf. Yeah, or you ask for something for Christmas or your birthday or whatever. Yeah, no, that's not going to happen. And we begin to be taught. You hear your parents fighting about money. And money equals negativity. Money equals tension in the home. Money equals, or you hear your parents say something about, look at that rich guy. Who does he think he is? And so in a child's mind, that begins to encode. Money is a negative thing. Listen how they're talking about people with money. So we start getting all these messages as children. They go to the subconscious mind, and they all shape our wealth thermostat, our wealth tolerance. And so for 7 years, you're in this box of, hey, management, man, if I could get into that game, that would be amazing. And you're having it reinforced, like I'm buying what I want, my life's going good, and this is probably me. And and I know this about you, it took discomfort and courage for you to try something outside of familiar for you to have your next breakthrough.
No, 100% agree with that. So why do you think people are afraid to getting out of their comfort zone? Like, why is it so hard for them to take their first step?
Yeah, because your brain is built for survival. It's built for safety, and new equals unsafe to the brain. Even if the thing is good, like more money, but if it's new, the brain says unsafe. So you subconsciously undo. I'll give you an example. Man, I'm making sales calls. I'm closing some deals. I'm doing the thing, and I've had a great month. And then the next month, I kind of sit back. I procrastinate. I'm not making as many calls. I'm just chilling, and then I find myself like, wow, nothing happened. I guess I'm not good at this. That must have been a lucky break. Not at all. You were doing the things for breakthrough, but they were new. And the success you were having, that was new. So your brain is saying new equals unsafe. So let's go back to what I know. What I know is this income level. What I know is this lifestyle level. What I know is this much success for my life, for my family, for the family I came from, whatever that might be. So we settle for less than God's best. We settle for less than abundance. We settle for scarcity. We settle for letting it be tight every month. We said, well, I guess, I'm always going to worry about money. I'm always going to worry about how am I going to pay the bills. I'm always going to worry about, am I going to make my mortgage this month? I guess that's just what people do. And then here's the thing. So then your brain starts scanning for proof that that's who you are. So guess what? You start hanging around with people and they're saying the same thing. Yeah, money's always tight. Yeah, it's a struggle, brother. Yeah, it's always going to be hard. Yeah, people like us, man, we're just in the grind. And it all because our brain is trying to reinforce what we believe subconsciously.
No, and I 100% agree with you. Who you surround yourself is who you become. If, like you said, if people say money's always going to be tight and you surround yourself with that type of people, that's the mindset you're going to have. But if you're surrounding yourself with individuals that are like, look, like, what's the next step? Like, how are we going to get out of this? What are we going to do to fix this situation that we're in? What are we doing instead of
That's right.
staying, comfortable?
That's right. That's why I'm applauding. I'm looking at this list over here. So we got Anna, we got Brandon, we got Murphy, we got Nadia and Ron and Rowena. I mean, these are people who said, I'm going to be in the room. I'm going to be in the room.
Mm-hmm.
And being in the room, man, that changes the game, because now you're exposed to breakthrough thinking. You're exposed to success thinking. You're exposed to what does it take? And it's going to take some discomfort, and it's going to take some new. And what you learn, here's what you're going to learn. New does not equal threat. My discomfort in making so many sales calls a day, even though that feels weird, what I know is right now I'm closing 2 out of 10. So if I want to close 20, do the math. 2 out of 10, 2 out of 10, 2 out of 10. Man, get through those no's, because I'm going to close 2 out of 10, 2 out of 10. Well, it feels like crap when you're getting, 8 no's maybe. But then better at the game, and then it's 3 out of 10, then it's 4 out of 10. But I'm trying to get 20 a month or whatever it is. And you face the discomfort. It doesn't mean unsafe. It doesn't mean it's bad. It doesn't mean you can't. All it means is this is a new game for me, and I have signed up for a big, big game.
And part of growing is also, failing, but failing also does help you grow,
100%.
right? It's not necessarily failing. It's
Learning.
shaping you to become someone different, or learning. But what do you think is like someone that fails, like how does that affect them, and how do they overcome that?
Well, failure for most people, this is why most people don't succeed. Like the people on this call, they're the top 5%. 95%, I'll tell you what failure does for them. Failure is confirmation bias for them. It confirms what they already believe about themselves. And I told you I wouldn't be good at this. I don't like sales. I'm not good at sales. This is for other kind of people. I can't learn to do that. Obviously, look, I got 7 no's. I got 8 no's before I ever got a yes. So most of the time I'm not going to do well. Like I get, and it, all that is, John, is the subconscious mind looking for proof, confirmation bias. It is biased toward what you already believe about yourself. So it looks for confirming proof, confirmation, proof for your existing bias that you're not good, that you're not going to do it. So they give up. Or they, the next month, instead of making 10 a day, I'll just do 1 or 2 a week and see if I can get, and then if that works, then I'll do more. What they just start shrinking back over to their mental thermostat, and they set it down to poor. They set it down to struggle. They set it down to not people like me. And then they live in that. Here's what the 5% do. They don't see it as failure. They see it as math. I'm getting 2 out of 10. So a no means I only have 7 more no's till I win.
Yeah.
6 more no's till I win. And in the no, they walk away thinking, you know what? On the one I got, I remember saying something in my presentation, and it really clicked with that guy, and I forgot to say it this time. So I got to just remember next time, put that in, or look for that opportunity, or do it the way, Paul and John told me to do it. Like it is food for them. It's instruction for them. Thomas Edison had thousands of failures before he ever had a light bulb to work. Thousands of failures. And somebody said, didn't discourage you? He said, no, I just found the thousands of ways that I don't have to do anymore because they didn't work. I was looking for the way that worked. And so you just go through it. You go through it. You go through it. You go through it. Boom, I won one. I go through it. I go through it. I go through it. Boom, I won one. And pretty soon you're like in this new level, this new headspace. I am winning way more than I did at the beginning, because I am a person who learns, and I'm determined to grow.
And I love that. But why, like, as far as like people, why are we always looking for other people's approval? Because we do come across that a lot. People are always thinking, they see something, they like it, they love it, and then just that one person comes in when they're talking about, like, they're super excited about a new opportunity, and they talk to that one individual and they just shut it down. And for that individual that was so excited, like, let's just say they're looking to start this credit card business, that individual just comes in and just tells them, well, what about this? So that's not going to work. Like, they'd say all the negative things instead of all the positive. But why are we looking for that one person's or multiple people's approval?
Yeah, people who are people pleasers learn that
Mm-hmm.
as a kid. It was a survival technique. I got to make mom and dad happy, or I'll get smacked around. Or I got to make the teacher happy, or I'm gonna, whatever they do to kids in school these days. You don't get recess, or I don't know what they do anymore. For me, back in the day, they whack you one time, and get you back in line. But they learned early the best way to just make it is to people please. Don't do what I want. Don't do what I think. Let someone else inform me about what is right. Get my validation outside of me for what is good. Well, as we grow, that's supposed to flip. I don't need your validation. I already believe I'm good. I don't need your approval. I already believe in what I'm doing. But you've got this tug of war, and it takes a while to change the mindset. That's why being in these kind of rooms over and over and over again, you got to practice it, hear it, see it lived out, They've got to get in these rooms, because when they get that, somebody didn't approve, my family thought this was a dumb idea. I've talked to many people, John, in entrepreneurship who say, I haven't even told my family. I block them on my social media so they can't even see what I'm doing. Like, they do this whole thing because they so fear disapproval. All that means is their sense of self, their identity is tied to that approval, rather than my identity is tied to who God says I am. Born for greatness. I'm a masterpiece. I have worthy value. I've had it since the moment I drew my first breath. God designed me for greatness. Like, once we see that it's already in us, I don't need anybody to validate that. And the things I choose to do with my life, I'm doing it to build greatness. I've got God's approval. I feel good about who I am doing it. And all the other stuff I'm going to silence. But only about 5% of the people do that. So we're looking, John, for men and women who want to believe this, what you and I are talking about, and are willing to put themselves in uncomfortable environments and have uncomfortable conversations with people who might disapprove or disagree or not understand or whatever. But I will tell you this, some people need to change their circle. If most of what they're hearing is negative about what they're doing, most people will give up. They'll be discouraged. I'll give you physics here. John, you're strong. And you're really strong. So if I stood you on there, you go, look at the guns, man. The gun show. If I stood you on that table that's behind you, there's a table right behind you. I stood you on there, and I'm on the ground, and I'm 66. I'm old, and I'm not as strong. And we say, okay, here's the game. John, you got to pull me up onto that table, or I just have to pull you off. I'll tell you who's going to win 10 out of 10 times. Me. The lower person has gravity as their advantage. You got to work again. You got to work twice as hard to lift me up. I only have to work half as hard to pull you down. This is true in life. This is true between encouragement and discouragement. People who discourage don't have to do much to wound us and shoot arrows through our dreams and get our head back down to poor, back down to scarcity, back down to fear, back down to struggle. It just doesn't take a lot of work for those people. So we need a lot of people above us on the table. If we put 5 of you on a table, and my job is to pull all 5 of you down, or all 5 of you up, you'll win 5 out of 5 times, because I put myself in an environment where 5 people are lifting me up. Be in the environment where there are more people lifting you than there are people pulling you.
I love that. Honestly, that's a really good analogy, and that makes a lot of sense. When someone's in a dark place and they're just negative Nancy, they're just pulling you down with them. And you're 100% right. You need to surround yourself with people that are going to be pulling you up and continue to pull you up, because it's easier just to take the easy way out and just fall into negativity. You did say something about God. Like, how do you know when it's time to trust God and move forward?
And I'm just going to, I don't know where people are in their faith journey here. I just tell you from my perspective what I believe about it.
Yeah.
It's always time to trust God. There's never a time Don't trust God. You were made by God. You were made for God. You were made with a purpose. You were made for a purpose. You were designed for greatness. You have greatness built into you. I just really, really believe that. Now, trusting God is that place where, I'm being called to something that's bigger than me, so I have to depend on God to help me. Like if God just told us to do things that we just do without him, we would try to live without him. God actually wants us to live with him. He wants us to depend on him. He wants us to need him. He wants to come through for us. So he will continually call us higher. He's one of those people pulling us up on the table. They say, well, I'm scared of heights. He says, good. Then you have to trust me to hold you. So if you're being asked to do something that's like, I could do that in my sleep, probably not God. God wants us to be bigger. God wants us to expand. God wants us to move against fear. God wants us to live by faith. God wants us to try. I'll give you a story. In the Christian scriptures, there is a story where a wealthy man had 3 financial advisors. And he was going to go, this wealthy man was going to go on a trip. So he trusted his money to these 3 guys. And to one, he gave like 10, let's say, bars of gold. To another, he gave like 5 bars of gold. And to another, he gave like 3 bars of gold. And he went away. And he says, I want you to do something with this while I'm gone. So he comes back, calls the first guy in that he'd given a lot of gold to, the most gold. And he said, what'd you do? And the guy said, I invested it. I doubled it. And the master said, well done, good and faithful servant. He calls the guy in that he gave 3 to or 5 to. He said, what'd you do? He said, I invested it and I doubled it. And he said, oh, well done, good and faithful servant. Calls the guy in that he just given the least to. He said, what'd you do with it? And he said, I was afraid of you, and so I buried it. I didn't lose anything. I'm giving you back exactly what you gave to me. So here it is back. And he said, you are a wicked servant. The master got back what he had invested. Why was it? He didn't lose anything, because his expectation wasn't that we would remain the same. His expectation that we would risk. His expectation was that we would try. His expectation was we'd step out in faith, that we would try to expand our life, not shrink our life.
And no, I love that. And as far as what, and people living with fear, like why? Like, why do people lead with fear and not, do something that they can get them uncomfortable? Because I know a lot of people want to do things, they talk about it, they see it, but at the end of the day, taking that first step is because they're scared. Like, why? Like, why are they doing that?
Yeah, there's a lot of reasons.
What's causing that?
There are a lot of reasons.
Why is it causing?
Yeah, people are afraid of judgment. What will other people think? They're afraid of failure because in their experience in life, failure was painful. The result of failure was negative. The shame around failure. So they're fearing judgment. They're fearing failure, and they're fearing that they're not enough. Like people primarily fear those 3 things. This is interesting in the Bible. In the Bible, 366 times we're told, don't be afraid. 366 times. How many days are there in a calendar year? 365. So there's one of those for every day of the year plus leap year. And so every day, God comes back to us and says, don't be afraid, don't be afraid, don't be afraid. It's the most repeated commandment in all the Bible. Why does God have to say it so many times? Because, John, like you said, everybody gets afraid. If somebody says they've never been afraid, they're lying. Everybody gets afraid. They're not enough. Somebody's going to judge them. They're going to fail, and the failure from their past experiences proved extremely negative. And so they get afraid. So God says, here's the remedy for that. You've got to take a leap of faith. You have to step against it, and with courage, you move forward. I do a lot of confidence work with people, like building their confidence. And people are shocked when I say, you do not make your first early moves in business or whatever they want confidence for, usually business. You do not make your first moves in business with confidence. That is not the first step. The first step is always courage, because they have to step against fear. Only courageous people make it. Only courageous people have breakthroughs. I will risk failure. I will risk my family and friends not understanding. I will risk it looking bad on me. I will risk it, courage. Then when I win, I make some progress. Now my confidence is up a little bit. Confidence follows courage. Now here's the beautiful thing. There's a third level. And this is where 7-figure income earners, people who consistently break the $1 million a year mark, they have conviction. I know that I know that I know I can do this. If I lost everything today, I'd do it again. I'd make it right back. Like they live at this level. You hear them talking. It's like, dang, how'd they get there? I'll tell you what, how they started out scared to death, and they took a step of courage. And they had enough wins. They didn't win every time, but they had enough wins with courage that became a little bit of confidence. And they did that over and over and over again until courage turned into confidence most of the time. Then they live with confidence. They live with confidence. I know I can do it. I've done it before. I know I can do it. It's in me to do it. I know I can do it. I've seen the wins. I know I can do it. And then that confidence becomes conviction, where they stop doubting at all. It's like, this is just who I am. This is just what I do. I remember the first person who I heard who they'd made $8 million the previous year. And the year before that, they'd lost everything they had. And their talk was, how did I start over from nothing? How did I start over from nothing? And it was basically this process. Losing all their money shook their conviction, shook their confidence, and they had to start over again with courage.
No, it takes a lot of courage to start something. And just to touch base on what you said, as far as you're helping people rebuild their confidence, like, why do you think, like, if someone's working, they're working their normal 9-to-5 job, and things are going good, but why is their confidence going down if they want to start something new? And like, I guess, yeah, that's my question. If someone's has it good, like, why is their confidence so broken? But they have, they're not they're not in a bad spot, but they also want more. Why is their confidence so broken?
Yeah, because the more that they want is outside of their comfort. So they've gotten confidence in a in there for 9. The other morning, I'm out on the streets, going merchant to merchant. Like they have confidence in the realm where they've spent some years, because they've had enough wins in that realm where their courage has become confidence. But the reason they want more is they don't have the conviction that they're doing what God wants them to do. They don't have the conviction that they're being everything they could be. They don't have the conviction that this is exactly my path. They don't have the conviction that this is all I want. So they have this idea, there has to be more for me. I believe there is more for me. So they step over here and they start the side hustle or whatever the thing is, but they don't remember, I don't get to start over here with confidence. I have to start over here in the new thing with courage. And eventually my courage will become confidence.
I love that. So courage, it's a game changer. What's going to take you for that next step after you get the courage to take that first step? Because, a lot of people want to do a lot of things, and talking, like, say someone's looking into doing the credit card business, and making 6 figures, a month, but they're looking to buy back their time. But again, it comes back to starting something new, getting out of their comfort zone, but they're not feeling confident, even if they see a proven concept, like they see, tons of our clients winning, making, $3,000, $5,000, $10,000 a month in passive residual. But again, it's that one step that's holding them back, and it's their lack of confidence, which they're gonna need to take that next step as far as courage to do it. Because just like anything, there's things that are gonna there's things that are gonna go just as planned, and there's also things that are gonna go take the wrong turn, go to left, right, down, up, like control chaos, right? But making decisions like that could potentially and will change your life, but you also got to stay consistent with it.
That's
Because
right.
what will happen if, like, okay, they took the first step, they took the courage, but things aren't going as planned? what would you say? What would they need to do from there on out?
Understand that they didn't have full understanding. A lot of people come in as pros, like I got this, I understand it, therefore it will go as I anticipate it will go. No, what you do, you hold tightly to the goal, you hold loosely to the path. So
Mhm,
let's say my goal is to earn another $1,000 a month. A lot of people start there. Man, if I could have an
mhm,
extra $12,000 this year, it would really change the pressure that's on our family. Or I could, take care of my elderly mother better, or pay my kids, tuition or something. Like $1,000 a month is a really common goal with people who start a side hustle. A lot of people say, I want more than that. I want to start getting into like second income, like maybe even career transition. I want to jump to 5,000 a month, 60,000 a year. I want to get to 10,000 a month, 120,000 a year, really, really quickly. And what they have to understand, John, is in that shift, there is this. It's not a belief, and you said it just a second ago. It's not a belief. Does the system work? Because with cash swipe, there's so many examples. It works, it works, it works. So, people who are out there killing it, they don't doubt that. They don't look at that and say, that's not true. What they're doubting is themselves. And so they have to make this mental shift, and it takes repetition, repetition. It takes coaching. It takes a
mhm.
process. And it's like, I will give myself to this. Now, then it's like, I have an idea what it's going to look like. Then they hit the reality. Well, it didn't look like that. That's fine. Because your goal was not, I want to work a process. Your goal was, I want 10,000 a month. Hold
Mhm.
tightly to the goal, allow the process to evolve. I thought I was going to be able to kill it in this sector of merchants. Yeah, I got 4 or 5 friends that are, bodega owners, or I've got 4 or 5 friends that are, dry cleaners. And I thought, man, I'd just pick up, some quick accounts there, and I'd be killing it. And none of that worked. But I've been going to the same coffee shop for 10 years. Never even thought to
Mhm.
ask that. I thought my path would be this. Hold loosely to the path, because God might show you, no, dude, your thing is, you get this coffee shop. He knows 5 more coffee shop owners. And now it's not dry cleaners, it was coffee shops all along,
Mhm.
So you allow the path to pivot, but I never let go of the goal. $10,000 a month, that's what I'm going to earn.
No, 100%. And as far as someone coming to you, like for they're seeking your help, your expertise as far as coaching, what do you say is like the most common thing someone like brings up? Like, hey, I'm worried about this, I'm concerned about this. Like, what's like the most common thing that you see out there when someone's looking for your help?
Yeah, is uncertainty. They want, they believe they're made for more. They just feel it in their spirit. They believe they're living maybe below their greatest contribution or their greatest purpose. I deal with a lot of people who have faith, and they'll say things like, I really want to know why God put me on this planet. I really want to know what I'm supposed to do with my life. I want to have a higher purpose than working 40 years, retiring, and dying. I think there's got to be more to life than that, but they're uncertain what that looks like. So I helped them begin to see that they were made for more, that God put in them greatness. The Bible says we are made in the image of God. We have his DNA. We are creators, and we get to co-create with God the future that's in front of us. We can build the desires of our heart. Like, all these things are there. And I help them begin to get this sense of identity. If I really have this relationship with God, I really can do greater
Mhm.
things than I ever imagined. So I start with identity, and then we get into nervous system regulation, because once they start and aspire to greater things, their brain, their subconscious mind, and their body systems all start to feel a little nervous. No, 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 dude, you live in poverty. No, 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 dude, you need to live with financial struggle. That's what we do. Don't you remember what your parents said when you were a little boy? We can't afford that. Put that back. Like, so then I help them regulate their nervous system so that they adjust to, and their body feels comfortable with wealth. And then we begin to get to the tactics of what does a beginning path look like?
So if we're going from them feeling nervous, then that going back to the nervous system, and then slowly working them to change that. What is that like? What is the process like? How long does that usually take? Does it take like a week or two? Does it take a month? Or everyone's a little bit different?
Well, everybody's a little bit different for sure, but my program is 6 months, and they're coached weekly. And there's 5 videos a week, and there's 5 worksheets a week that they do by themselves with prayer and with a lot of thought. And they're writing out answers of some really hard questions about themselves, who they are, what they believe, what they want, and their thinking is challenged, and old thinking is broken. So in those early weeks and videos, I mean, there's 60 videos in this, 60 worksheets in this. And then every Thursday morning, they're on a call like this with me and my wife, and we're talking through where they are and where they're feeling stuck. And, we're pulling them up onto the table, with us. And so they get a lot of encouragement. Nobody has to do it alone. But we have found that 6 months is a real good time. Then they can go to monthly. They get, it's a 6-month initial commitment, but then they can go to monthly where they can stay with us as long as they want. It's a month to month, stop anytime. But some people just love the community part of it. There's a little community built in, but some people say, I just love that weekly dose of Brad and Karen, but 6 months is that's a good place for people to have breakthrough.
No, that's good. That's good to know. And, join the community, being part of something great is, you need that motivation, that little extra pump every single week or month. I have a question for you. So, because you brought up challenge. So when someone's, you're giving them that worksheet that they have to tell them like real stuff about them. Do you ever call out when you're like, hey, this doesn't seem like you're being truthful to yourself. Like they're kind of BSing it because they're still worried about opening up.
Yeah, even to themselves. Because
nobody else sees I'm
yeah. It's not being graded. They can be completely honest. What they'll do, they'll tend to just fall into comfortable patterns. So they'll say, well, this is the answer I've always given, so I'll just give that answer again because, confirmation bias, and it feels there's something called cognitive dissonance when we're told something or challenged about something that goes against our beliefs. We have this cognitive struggle or stress, and they avoid that. They go back to confirmation. And so they'll come, to a live call and they'll say things like, I'm not good at sales, or I'm not good at relationships, or I'm not, and I stop them right there. I said, this week we were working on identity. Identity is what you say about yourself after the words I am. And you've just been saying to yourself, and you've been listening to yourself say, I'm not good at, I always do blah, blah, blah. No, stop it. I met with an 86-year-old man yesterday, John, and he's been experiencing anxiety, and he didn't know what to do with it. So we spent an hour together, and he says, I am always anxious. I am always anxious. I am always anxious. And I said, I want you to know you are convincing yourself of something here because you're adding it to I am. I am always anxious. I am. Once you tell your brain I am, whatever you put next, your brain will go to work to prove it. And it will only look for evidence for that. And it will reject any evidence that contradicts that. So now he's giving me all these examples of when he's been anxious. I said, of course, it's all your brain can see because you gave it the marching instructions. Look for things that support the statement, I am anxious. He said, well, what am I supposed to say? I feel anxious. That's not an identity statement. I'm not hanging a label over my, around my neck with a big sign, I am anxious. No, I just have feelings, and we all know feelings can change. Identity is harder to change. So he says, stop making identity statements. You're driving that stake too deeply in the ground. Pull it up, hold it loose. Don't say I am anymore. Just have feeling anxiety right now. It comes and goes. Talk about it casually. Don't talk about it as an identifier. So that's the kind of interaction I would have with people in the coaching call. They come in with their worksheets and I see them still in the pattern they started with. So we'll call out those patterns. And this is about pattern interruption and then the establishment of new patterns.
No, I love that. And that's good. You're dropping some gems here, like I am, like changing from I am to I feel. It's something so simple, but again, at the same time, you're putting it out there. Yeah, like you said, it's a game changer because if you want to do something, you just say, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna get it done. I'm gonna figure it out, or I'm not. There's either one or the other. We're like when we we talked when I jump on meetings with Paul, is that we either say yes or no. There is no I tried or making excuses, right? It's like either I'm gonna get it done, yes or no. And that's something I led with. And this is recently, the past, I'll say 2 to 3 months. It's like, hey, if I say I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna just do it. I'm not gonna make an excuse, because we can make excuses for thousands of things instead of just taking something so simple and just doing it.
That's
Right.
exactly right.
But
And
that's the thing.
you thank you for saying I've given gems, but you just gave a gem right there, John. And it's one of the secrets of confidence building, which is keeping promises to yourself. So if you say I'm going to do it and you do it, you begin to trust yourself. You begin to trust your word. We've all had the types of friends in our life, and we know no matter what they promise, hey, yeah, I'll be there, or I'll show up right on time, or, yeah, I'll carry my part of the responsibility. And we just know immediately they're not going to do it. They're not going to come through. They never keep promises. They never keep their word, right? We do that to ourselves. So, I'm going to lose 5 pounds. I'm going to start at the gym. I'm going to make so many calls, whatever it is. And when we don't keep promises to ourselves, just like we start dismissing that friend, we start dismissing ourselves. Like, I can't even trust what comes out of my mouth. And our confidence just eroded. But every time we say, I'm going to do it, and we do it, I actually am trustworthy. I can trust myself. That's a confidence builder. And you just gave that one, brother.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It takes a lot. And keeping those promises to yourself, it's easy just to say, I'm gonna go to the gym and I'm gonna work out. I'm gonna start the week strong. People wait till Monday, or they're like, I'll start next week. But it's something. It's something so simple, but at the same time, it is a challenge. It's not easy staying on the right path, I guess to say. But once you build it up and you stay consistent with something, it just becomes second nature to you, and you feel more. Like, I'll give you an example. For me, going to the gym, I go to the gym for the most cases Monday through Friday. I try to go 6 days a week, but the 6 day I froze.
Yeah.
Am I there? What's the last thing I said?
Get back now. Yep.
So I go to the gym. I go Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays CrossFit, and then Tuesdays and Thursdays I go to just a normal gym, strength train. And Saturdays is supposed to be my rest day, but sometimes I still go because I like to be at the gym. But I get anxiety if I don't go. If I start making excuses in my head, like, oh, I'm gonna take a rest day today. I feel more bad if I don't go. It's different, just because that's just my mindset's trained, and it's been consistent for like almost a year now, and it's just drilled into my head, and then it's building that confidence and that certainty that this is what I'm doing.
That's right. You kept a promise to yourself, and then it got stronger and stronger and stronger as a habit. Now you have a new pattern, and it's well, look at you. It's paying off, man.
Pretty strong. Hey, and you said, like, hey, I still feel young as well. I know. Like, my wife's like, you're not young, you're old. I was like, no, I feel like I'm in my 20s still.
There you go.
Amazing.
That's exactly right.
But I know we're getting close to the end, but what would you answer this question? If you could leave people with one lesson about faith or purpose, what would that be?
Yeah, I would say this. If your failure wasn't fatal, you're not finished. If your failure is, I drove into oncoming traffic, you may not walk away from that one. That mistake that's your last mistake, right? But if your failure wasn't fatal, it's not final. I would just tell people, it doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter how long you've been in an old pattern. It doesn't matter how little belief you have in yourself right now, how little courage you have right now. Anybody can take what they have, take a step, build from there, start again. Anybody can take what they have, where they are, start again. And it's just one of the most important lessons I ever learned. It's not final. Where you found yourself last month, not final. Your best day, not final. There are better days than even that. Like, take what you are, take what you have, take what you do, and start again. And anybody can do that. I do not allow people to continue to believe that they are done. that they took their shot and that's it. And it's just not, I'm not cut out for that. I don't put up with that, not even a little bit. God says something different about us. You're made for greatness. So, become great. Become great.
Take the opportunity. We're all built for greatness.
Yeah.
Now, if someone wants to find you, is it okay if we share your Instagram handle, your
Yeah,
Facebook?
absolutely.
Is that
So it's Brad Scot Johnson. Scott has one T. So BradScot Johnson, JOHNSON. Brad Scot Johnson. So my Instagram is at BradScotJohnson.com. And that's the social media I'm on most of the time. I mean, I have it set up where whatever I share on Instagram gets shared to Facebook. Occasionally I'll throw something on TikTok, but I don't dance and I don't do those things that are on TikTok. So over there sometime. You can always find me active and present, answering private messages. That's a good way to communicate with me. I am always on Instagram. I post 2 and 3 times a day in my stories or on my feed. So yeah, find me, follow me. If you let me know that we met, through John or Cash Swipe, I'll follow you back. So Brad Scot Johnson on Instagram.
Perfect. So they should have messaged to Brad. But thanks, Brad, for coming on. It was a pleasure speaking with you.
Thank
Pleasure,
you for
giving
having
us
me,
some
John. It's
insight.
always a joy to be with you, to work with you. We see each other a lot. I'm going to be in Scottsdale coming up,
Yeah.
and I hope I see you there. And yeah, joy to be with you again. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, I'll definitely see you in Scottsdale. And if for those who are watching, if you guys don't know, we do have an event September 17th in Scottsdale, in Scottsdale, Arizona. So if you guys are looking to come see us in person, meet Brad, meet myself, meet Paul, and the Cash Swipe team, we'll be there. So if you are interested in something like that, shoot us a DM. My Instagram is at cashswipe.johnhernandez. Super simple. But yeah, shoot me a DM or shoot even Brad a DM as well. But all right, guys. Again, Brad, thank you for coming on.
My
My name
joy.
is John Hernandez. No problem. My name is John Hernandez from Cash Swipe. Make sure you guys subscribe to our YouTube channel, Residual Incomes for Beginners, and we will catch you guys on the next live. All right. Peace out, guys. Take care.